Here for another episode of Truth Tuesday. And today, what I wanted to talk to you about is something very important. Now, if you have not been in a sales role before, if you have not carried quota or been accountable for KPIs, you probably don't know how important it is to map out a prospective client journey. Now, the reason why that's important is because we live in a world of distractions. So, if we cannot map out what the prospect's journey may be or what we want it to be, then chances are it's not going to be as enjoyable as it could be. It also may not be effective in the sense that our prospects may not become our clients. Now, hear me out. Not every prospect is going to become your client, only a small percentage. However, if we don't have that journey mapped out, then it's going to be pretty close to impossible for the prospect to make the choices along the way so that they could choose to become a client or choose not to become a client at that time. Now, the example that I wanted to give you today, which I found, was really something, a truth that I realized just recently. I realized how prevalent it is, how common it is that people don't have their prospect journey mapped out or their client journey mapped out. Now, rest assured that once you become aware of this, then you can map it out. This is similar to, everyone talks about a client avatar, an ideal client, a dream client, right? This exercise is similar to that. However, it's different because this exercise is related to what you want that dream client, that client avatar to do along the way. Now, remember that, not all leads are prospects, but the leads that are prospects, we want to have a journey. We want to have some milestones identified. And this is easier said than done for, with people that are using a CRM like we provide for our clients, because you can actually see it on the screen. Because clients, potential clients, prospects, they make decisions and they have identifiers, what we call tags. So for the visual learners, and I'll have to make sure that I'm able to record my screen or something at some point because I don't have my camera turned on right now. But I think it's important that you all know that it's this doesn't have to be difficult, and you don't have to map it out digitally. You can start by just using a blank sheet of paper, which is what I still do, even though we have, even though we work with digital assets and we have this system that we can look and we can see, okay, the, client clicked on this link, the client didn't click on this, or the prospect was looking at this, downloaded this. We in today's world, we have so many metrics that we can rely on. But for, keeping things simple, you can just take a white sheet of paper and then you can begin mapping out what you want that prospect to do. Now, it's good if you have two choices in there, right? So, like as an example, this doesn't have to be, won't pertain to anyone, but let's say that, uh, you have a lead magnet, something of value that you are using to attract your ideal client. Well, you can have as one of the first steps uh, near the beginning. It may not be the very first, but one of the beginning steps could be download free resource. Okay. Or the second choice of that would be that perhaps they clicked on it, but they didn't download it for whatever reason. Maybe it just they got interrupted. Maybe they decided they weren't sure if that was for them or not. So it's good that for every milestone, you have two options, right? Because then for the ones that didn't download it, they're going to go down, literally, they'll be going down a different pathway so that you can send them some reminder emails to say, hey, we noticed that you clicked on this, but you didn't download it. Here's the link if you'd like to go ahead and download it. And then if they did download it, then they're going to go down the other path where you can give them further information about this. You can ask them questions. What did they think of it? Would they add anything? Would they like to schedule a free call? These can all be done. And I would recommend, one action step per message, whether it's a text or an email, because if you give too many action steps, people can get confused and sometimes they do nothing, right? So you want to be mindful of that and you want to keep things simple because, again, you're building the relationship. So I noticed the other day, one of my friends messaged me and said, hey, I'd like to get more downloads on my new season of my podcast. And so I was asking a few questions. So I asked my friend, who is the podcast directed to? And she said healthcare professionals. And then I asked what she would like those healthcare professionals to do, like at the end of the podcast, after they listen to it, what would the next step be? Now, understanding they always have choices, right? But, would the choice be to download a free resource? Would the choice be a service offering for her company? And how she responded was she said that she didn't know. And she's not the only person that I've spoken to that doesn't know. And so that really kind of, alerted me that this is a topic that we need to educate on. And this is a topic that needs to be action oriented. So you may be wondering, why does this pertain to you? Well, it would pertain to you if you haven't had a sales background, meaning, you haven't been carrying quota or you haven't been familiar with what a journey would be to take a cold lead and take it through the prospect slash client journey. And, through that experience and through years of experiencing that, it's top of mind to those of us that have experienced that we have to have a next step. We have to have a call to action, whether or not the lead or the prospect or the client actually takes that. But we as owners of that process or service that we would like them to acquire, we need to map that out. And so, don't feel bad if you didn't know. You may be like my friend and just think that the goal is to get as many downloads as possible for your podcast, as an example. Okay, maybe it's a newsletter, but you have to think through and map out what you would like those listeners to do. And another way that you can think about this is like the listener experience. Like, we've all heard and we've all experienced, uh, you know, how it feels to be a customer, right? Well, we need to flip it and look at it from a service provider aspect. And the reason why I'm sharing this, because like I said, I realized when my friend and I had that discussion, when she was asking, very valid questions, how do I get more downloads? And uh, the good thing that came out of that is, she's thinking through what she can do and what she wants her listeners to do next, for the next steps. So it was a great learning experience for her, she said, as well as for me, because, uh, like I said, it wasn't the first time that I heard that. And I thought to myself, uh, this is something that I feel is becoming more and more apparent. So I wanted to dedicate Truth Tuesday as the I wanted to dedicate Truth Tuesday as the megaphone, so to speak, to let people know that it's important. Like whether or not if you're writing a newsletter, maybe you have a side gig, maybe you're trying to scale up your business as a CEO and founder, but whatever it is, you have to have either monetization goals or vanity metric goals. And, there's nothing wrong. Like, if you're not looking to make money from your podcast or make money from your newsletter, which I would hope you would, because, you should be getting a return on your time. But if you're not looking to monetize, then you're looking, then the other goal would be vanity metrics, which it would just be truly more eyes, more downloads, and there would be nothing as far as revenue production tied to it. However, people that I speak to about this, they don't, sometimes have the idea, they don't realize that people, quite frankly, are not going to be just like taking their credit card out, throwing their credit card at you if they don't know what it is you're offering. And I've seen this too with uh, speakers. So there are speakers that go around and get speaking gigs, but they don't always have like a signature talk, and the signature talk does not always connect to what they're trying to monetize with. Sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't. And to make matters more confusing, sometimes they have multiple products and services. So they're kind of leaving it up to chance. And when you leave it up to chance and you have no clear path, like it really has to be like with laser lucid clarity, because the more detailed that you get with the prospective client journey, then, like I said, the outcome is going to be more beneficial for that potential client and for you. Because if you're doing this to produce revenue, then you want to get as many downloads as you can, but you want the downloads of the ideal clients, as many of those as possible, and then be able to take those ideal clients on your prospect journey so that the ones that are meant to convert will convert to your clients. And then they go, down a different path. So the truth here is you need to figure out, and I would recommend you reverse engineer it. You need to figure out what steps you would like your prospects to take before they become your clients. And I would start there. Now, again, this is usually the easiest if you map it out from the reverse. So, like, let's say that you start at when your prospect becomes a client and then map it out from that point. Reverse engineer it. So, let's just say your prospect becomes a client. What would one step before that be? One step before that could be a strategy call. Let's say it's 30 minutes. What's one step before that? Well, that could be a 15-minute call, 15-minute meet and greet, just to determine what it is they're looking for, trying to figure out like where that prospect is versus where they want to go. And can your service or your product, can your service fill that gap? What would one step be before the 15-minute call? Well, perhaps that's a free lead magnet. Perhaps that's a masterclass. Maybe that's even just a video explaining about what you do for people to get them from where they are to where they want to be. Now, do you see how I did that? So you could sit down with a plain sheet of white paper and you could use my examples and then just fill in with your words, fill in with your services or your products. Maybe a call isn't what you want to offer. Or maybe you have someone on your team that covers the 15-minute calls, and then you or a colleague of yours covers the 30 minutes. So this is all interchangeable. I just gave you a framework so that you can start thinking. So because like I was saying earlier, this became really apparent to me that more people in our community really need to think through this. Like it's not just I'm going to start a podcast. And then, before you know it, you sink a lot of money into that. But what is the goal of the podcast? Are you looking to produce revenue from it and grow it and get sponsorships? Or are you using it as a lead magnet for vanity metrics? Maybe you're not looking to make money from it. So those decisions need to be made. And I would highly encourage you, before sinking in a lot of money for a podcast, I mean, a newsletter pretty much just takes your time. But, if you're, depending on where you're hosting it, it would still, I would say there would still be some kind of a financial commitment to it. But, and don't forget that your time is money. So before you start throwing things out there, take 15 minutes to map out what you would like those listeners to do or what you would like those readers to do. Maybe it is just to go to your website and peruse your services. But I can tell you that the best thing that you can do for your company, as well as your potential prospect and your client, is to have a clear path so that they can make decisions, and preferably yes or no decisions. And you can continue to serve them because selling is about serving. Selling is about providing information, providing value, and getting that prospect to a point where they can say, yes, I would like to enroll in your service. No, I would not like to enroll in your service at this time. Whatever the answers are, that's fine. But you are serving them and helping them make a decision so that it's not like hanging over their heads. Because if they are not where they want to be, and you and your company can fill that gap, why wouldn't you want to explore the option of bringing them on? I mean, now, not everybody is going to be an ideal client. Not everybody you are going to want to enroll, but why not see if it's a good fit for you, for them? So let me know, is this a truth that you can relate to? Maybe you have a podcast or you have a newsletter and you realize this because maybe if you are like many other people that I've spoken with, you realize like, hey, I'm not making any money on this, or people are not coming to my offers. And, I can tell you that a lot of the clients that we've worked with, they have, they thought that they had everything in place. Like they had a course available to their prospects and to their clients. They had digital marketing campaigns. They had lead magnets. They had a podcast. And this one particular client that I'm thinking about, they were struggling to get high end clients because the pathways did not lead the prospects to high end client decisions. So, one of the best things we can do is recognize the truth. And sometimes it is learning from other people's truths, other people's mistakes, so that you can make the best decisions and propel yourself and your business forward. So let me know, is this something you can relate to? Or maybe this is an aha. Maybe you have a podcast, like I said, or a newsletter, and you were wondering, when is this going to start monetizing? Well, I can tell you that definitely there's a sense of urgency if you're looking to replace your income. If you already have a full-time income, or maybe you still in a W-2 position, there may not be that sense of urgency for you. But whatever it is, you deserve the truth and you deserve to know that there has to be a clear path for your prospect. And chances are that it's up to you, or it's partially up to you if you're working on a team to define that path for that prospect so that that prospect just doesn't linger in the prospect land and not ever get to the point of deciding to become a client of yours or not. So please share your thoughts in the comments. Please share your thoughts with me and let me know. What is your truth? What would you add? I'd love to know. Have a great evening.